Okay, to begin the reassembly. Once the top case is on, these chocks are put in place, and there's another one just here, and there's another one just here, and there's another one at the back here, and they hold the case an exact distance apart. Now the ones at this end are underneath the bridges, so they have to be quite short. Okay, so when the chain is fully unwound, it can fall off, so you have to have a bit of pre-tension, and that's what this does. So essentially, when the chain is installed and you're ready, you give this about 2 or 3 teeth worth of tension anti-clockwise, and that tensions up the Fusee chain in the system so that when the watch is fully unwound, it isn't loose enough to just drop off. So you can see there, that's the system fully tensioned, and if you just move to the left there, you can see where just there where my finger is, that's where the chain is connected to the cone on the pivot at the very end. So that's now a tensioned chain. So whatever you do, now that we've got all of the delicate parts fitted underneath this plate, don't go sticking anything underneath there to fit this, which is why I did it with a flat blade. Okay, fitting the wheel. This wheel is upside down, and essentially that little jewel, that's a jewel, that's a ruby just there, that's going to go in between the fork, and that is pretty tricky, right enough. So you can just see just there, that is the fork, and that black hole is the bearing. There you go. Isn't there a more beautiful sight than that, eh? Okay, so this watch is it's just sitting on top of its case there. That little case protects the movement pretty well, actually. Okay, so some of the problems that were associated with this watch were this bridge wasn't flat, and so we've had to flatten it and then very carefully adjust the distance between the bridge and the bottom jewel until it suited the balance wheel there. And we've also cleaned the inside of this jewel and oiled it. Now, one of the reasons why it wasn't turning was this little spring here, you can just see underneath the jewel. This spring was bent in one direction. You wouldn't think that would make much difference, but what it was doing was it was wrapping the spring around this piece here, which is attached in the center if you look at the video, and as a result of that, the spring was being damped. Now this whole process of balance wheel works on a principle of oscillation. So if you dampen oscillation, you basically kill off the whole principle of the watch. So we had to spend some time with the tweezers, and it was blinking tedious, I can tell you now, straightening out the spring so that it sat straight as a die, and that fixed the watch. I mean, it now works. There was also a minor issue that I didn't quite have enough power on the wind, I needed to wind it up quite a lot to get it to go. You can kind of tell when that's happening because the amplitude of the back and forth swings on the wheel, you can see they're quite large now. When the spring's running out of juice effectively, the amplitude is much smaller, and I guess it takes a bit of experience to see that, and this is probably the first one I've ever really had working. So there you go, folks. That's the watch pretty much got its ticker working. Now the faces on these watches, pivot there, and a hole there, and a hole there, and they're held on with chocks, as you can see in the start of the video. Okay, so the face has been attached with chocks, and there are 3 of these, and one of the reasons, there's one there, one of the reasons there was a chock missing was chocks are actually quite hard to fit. Okay, so there's our clock fitted with the hands, and the second hand, as you can see, is moving slowly around. Now it should be said that with clocks like this, the time is set by moving the hands with a pin, and that's one of the reasons why the front face of the watch is hinged. Okay, as with all watches of the older style, they fix into the case here with a hinge, and the hinge has, guess what, another chock in it, which is slightly wider at one end than the other, but it serves the purpose anyway. So there you go. So that's the pin in, and the watch then clicks down. There's a little click at the bottom there. And there we have a beautiful silver cased Fusee watch. Fantastic. How about that? Okay folks, that's the end of this little video. Thanks very much for watching, folks.